meeting of the Adams County, Ohio Valley Board of Education. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Davis? Yes. Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Beth?
Yes. This time we'll stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, this time I would entertain a motion and a second for approval of the agenda.
I'll move.
Dr. Shipley has moved and Mrs. Campbell has seconded. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, roll call please.
I would like to make just one addition.
Okay.
If Scrooms, would I be able to put you on the spot just as a summary or just a quick brief in regards to where we are with the upcoming basketball?
OHSAA.
Or just with basketball, just a quick,
Yeah.
You've got a meeting tomorrow, just lead the board into where we are.
Yeah.
Just a quick summary.
Okay, we'll do that.
Just add it to it. I'm gonna talk about Pee Wee, if you could add to that.
We'll do that during superintendent.
Yep,
Report, please.
thank you.
Okay. I'll write that down. Thank you. Any other additions or corrections? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mrs. Shipley?
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Riley? Yes. Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Beth?
Yes. At this time, I'll entertain a motion and a second for approval of the minutes of the September 21st, 2020 regular meeting and the October 6th, 2020 workshop. Mr. Riley has moved. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Davis has seconded. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Riley? Yes. Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Shipley?
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Beth?
Yes. Student achievement. Okay, we don't have any at this time tonight. We have no one for hearing the public. At this time, we will have the treasurer's report and business.
This month is a very common month, basic financial statements. We're into the first quarter. Really nothing much different from where we were this point last year. No new funds or transfers this month. And we did receive a couple of small donations from generous people in the community for some activities in the building.
Thank you to those community members who have given donations to help our students. That's always greatly appreciated.
One to note was $10,000.
One large
for
donation.
Oh, Brian, what was that?
The Hawk for the machine here in the
For the machines, for Mr. Cooper's program?
which they put toward machines, I think. But
Yeah.
very generous.
He sold an old piece of machinery, and then they made it, a company donated the $10,000 so he could go get it. Proceeds what he sold the old machinery and finish.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. We need to get a report on that. Don't let me forget, guys, at a future meeting, we'll have Mr. Cooper come and give us a presentation on that, and we'll share that with Ashley. And she might like to do a write-up in the paper for that. So that was one of the machining companies from where, David? Do you know what company?
Hat, AAS, the Hawk. I'm not sure the Campbell Hawk.
The address says Oxnard, California. I don't know where they locally are.
I think that's where the company is based out of.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that'll be wonderful to get the backstory and how Roy got hooked up with a company in California, probably through one of the work sites that we have students, because he's had such a good record of student placement, and a lot of the companies have pretty much told him, like they have in some of our other programs, send me all you got, because they've been really good employees.
I think they're the manufacturer of the machine.
Oh, okay.
Magic CNC.
The Hoff is,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not
They
sure
done
which
it in the
company,
past.
I mean, they could be at work, yeah, they could have equipment at Millicom, or
Right.
several different companies in Cincinnati area, so that'll be nice to hear from him, okay? Now we are to the superintendent's report. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I need a first and a second on the treasurer's business first.
So moved.
Mrs. Campbell has moved, I'll second. Okay, any other questions at this time? If not, roll call please.
Mrs. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Beth,
Yes,
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Mr. Riley. Yes. Mr. Davis.
Yes.
okay. Superintendent's report and business now, we'll start with the legislative, anything legislative? you
Yes.
see?
I do. Senator Fetter and Senator Manning sponsored a bill called Senate Bill 358. The bill extends many important provisions of House Bill 197 and 164 for just this year only, and it provides us some flexibility based on what we're going through with the COVID situation. So, for instance, to highlight some of the things in the bill, allows for teacher and principal evaluations to be completed without the use of student growth measures. I don't think that's not anything that we hadn't seen coming. Provides flexibility for students should they be unable to take an end-of-course exam by allowing them to meet graduation requirements through the use of the final course grade in the associated class. Eliminate state-required assessments with the exception of diagnostic assessments, and requires the Ohio Department of Education to seek a waiver from administration of all federally required assessments. Prohibits ODE from issuing state report cards for the 2021-22 school years. Gives district local control in making decisions regarding the promotion to fourth grade, free of the third grade reading guarantee mandates, and also provides local control in determining if the student is on track to graduate. So this is something that they're working on as we speak. Just a quick update on that bill.
Okay.
It's in the House, so changes will probably be made to it.
Wow,
That's all I have for
okay,
legislation at this time.
that's a big deal, I mean, that's a lot. Okay, under education, curriculum, and instruction, we'll have you talk about, well, first of all, I want to say, we need to, as a board, I think, thank you, publicly, Mr. Steve and your staff, for the successful start we've had in the school year so far. I mean, there's been a lot of work. I know some of our people have been working double almost, their normal workload with all things with COVID. And, your team and our team has pulled together, and everybody has done such a wonderful job. And I just want to say, thank you to you and the staff, and for, putting so much effort into trying to get the kids back to school, to be able to get them in the building, in front of the teachers and learning.
I mean, I'll accept that on behalf of the staff. I think, again, we've talked about it, we've seen it. We're still in action.
Yeah.
And, Greg and I, we have conversations every day, about, where we are. And I think when you look back, would we say we would be here today? I would say, there were some doubters out there.
Yeah.
But we got 5 days a week. We're still going at it. And that leads me, that's a good lead in, Charlie, and thank you very much. And again, on behalf of the staff, I'll carry that back. The conversation the other day, it comes up regarding essential. What does it mean? Are we essential? Well, I think we all know that teachers and bus drivers, cooks, and secretaries, and everybody in this organization is essential. Even payroll is essential. Ms. Spencer back there, payroll is essential. So, in terms though of keeping our classrooms open, look at an example like where somebody has been a contact, whether it, if it's maybe not through the investigation of the health department, again, we don't determine, let me say that again, we do not determine who gets quarantined. Mr. Parker over here does not determine that. I don't determine that. We help and aid the health department in their investigation. They make the final decision as to who gets quarantined. And I can't say that loud enough. It's very problematic when somebody gets quarantined because of what that means, what they can and can't do. It wrecks your life for a period of time. And we all understand that. Perhaps you were at the wrong place at the wrong time. Perhaps you're an athlete vying for district competition or regional competition or state competition. That can set you back, and it's crushing. It's crushing to you as an individual. It can be crushing to you as a team player. So, in terms of looking at essential, what does that mean? So I'm paraphrasing some of what Dr. Blitzel sent me. Since the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Centers for Disease Control, CDC, and the Prevention and the Ohio Department of Health have recognized that some work is so essential to the health and welfare of the community that special conditions may be appropriate that allow workers exposed to COVID-19 to continue performing essential duties. The CD guidance states, to ensure continuity of operations, essential functions, CDC advises that critical infrastructure workers may be permitted to continue working following potential exposure to COVID-19, provided they remain asymptomatic and additional precautions are implemented to protect them and the community. So considering the educational, nutritional, mental health benefits of keeping our schools open and the regional shortage of substitute teachers, we consider teaching as an essential infrastructure occupation and do other public health agencies in southwestern Ohio. The responsibilities of employees deemed to be essential workers and those of their employers after exposure of COVID-19 are outlined in the CDC publication. And then the CDC guidance on essential workers does not, and this is kind of an important part, the CDC guidance on essential workers does not impact an employee's responsibility to their community in mitigating the spread of COVID-19 while not at work. I.e., if you are deemed a close contact and are quarantined, you are allowed to come to work, but then you must return back to that quarantine mode of operation. So that's why you are an essential worker. So I think there's some question out there about that. Essential worker, yes, you're allowed to perform your duties, but then you must go back into that quarantining mode until you're released from quarantine.
In other words, you can't leave work and go out in the general public, correct?
That is correct. That is the guidance. And again, it's really problematic for those that get quarantined. I know it's been a personal discussion even in my own household. Not that, I'm sure the sun will come up and I'm sure it will set. But if you have a kid who's an athlete and you want to try to go to that next level and you happen to be, again, at the wrong place, the wrong time around somebody and you're deemed a close contact, in my case, you're not running next week.
Right.
For one of my kids. So I get it, it's personal as well as professional. So I just wanted to explain what that meant for an essential worker. And that conversation was backed up with the conversation I had with our board attorney today. And again, it's, to your compliment, Charlie, our staff has been amazing. We've had really good attendance, and the doors are open, so we just hope to continue that through Thanksgiving, through Christmas.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's it on that subject.
Okay.
F&T and perhaps security with Mr. Parker here. I'll start off with Pee Wee basketball. I know it's a hotbed topic, like many of the activities that we're not able to do. So in the Pee Wee world, we talked about that along with field trips and many other things at the beginning of the year. And we determined right then and there we weren't sure what it was going to look like, but it was rather questionable or daunting that we would ever be able to have Pee Wee basketball as we know it. I've spoken with all three of the gentleman that I believe had that up. And, you know, the discussion is, maybe we can't play games, we can't play the tournament games at our place, but the request is, could we at least do practices? Now, this would be just with our students, nobody else. No parents, perhaps a coach, another coach, and our students. So it's no different than coming in like you would to school. In talking to the principals, you know, and I've spoken to one earlier. One of the things we have to remember, and I kind of let this slip by, is we have a gym. The little gym is taken up with tables. It's called expanding the cafeteria. So that's a problem. That's a big problem, unless you're going to tear those things down every day and then put them back up. But we're going to meet, we're going to talk about it, and I think they would like to, you know, get some practices going maybe by November. But again, Greg and I were talking, we talk about this every day. You know, we're a red county, and red means limit your exposure. And whatever we do, I will promise the board this, whatever we do in regards to this, and or what Greg may talk about here in a minute, we will get the blessing of the health director. As much as we want to do something, as much as we desire that, we've got to pause and at least get the blessing from the health director, because that's what we are commissioned to do, or I'm commissioned to do. And I can't say this enough to people in the public that are listening. I'm not against Pee Wee basketball. I think opportunities for kids are great. I came here to offer more opportunities for kids, not less.
Right.
But we've got to be safe at what we do. And remember, the number one thing we do is get these kids here every day, 5 days a week. That's called curricular. Extracurricular, i.e. basketball and the other activities, they are very, very important because they help form a kid. They develop character. But they're not the most essential thing that we do. And we cannot risk, at the risk of losing that, I don't want to overstep our bounds, and we just want to be careful. But right now, you know, we're red, and we have to respect that. So that's my update on that. And I asked Greg, I put him on the spot. I know we just came out of an athletic council meeting, just to give you a little bit of a lowdown, because it is a hot topic in the public.
Yes.
I understand it's being debated in social media, which I don't look at, but I'll let you, Greg, update us on that.
Okay, I'd like to see you, we met today at the athletic council, myself, all the high school principals and athletic directors. With the focus in mind is providing opportunities for our kids going into the basketball season.
Right.
You know, that's the number, and I guess what I'm saying that in the meeting is providing a safe opportunity for our kids to have a season.
Right.
And there's many things on the agenda. The first thing you guys know was we did a SHAC board member, we did pass the 75-25% capacity. Excuse me, but you're talking to the AD today, the ticket sales is a huge issue on how we want to do it. There's been several things thrown up from exchanging of tickets, which is problematic, driving back and forth out of school.
Right.
Using the state recommended company, which then adds an additional $1.50 per ticket.
Wow.
Which in this pandemic, when people have lost their jobs and don't have $1.50 don't sound much, but when you don't have a job and you're trying to support your kids, $1.50 is $1.50. So they told me that if you do the numbers, our games are 293. At 75-25, we get 219 on a home game. You get 219, and the opposing school gets the rest of the ticket. If you take our varsity basketball team, Mount Carmel Schools, it's the most problematic for us. Our focus is the kids.
Right.
Trying to get the kids to get the tickets to the people that's important in their lives.
Right.
To what's their play.
Right.
If you take 15 kids is on a JV, 15 on a varsity, and then you got 15 to 20 cheerleaders.
Yeah.
So you got 30, say, a total of 50 kids. And they did not like the limitation of how many people could see a volleyball game, but they did like and people have gotten used to the vouchers, the 4 and 2. If you take 50 kids and give every kid in that program 4 tickets, you're at 200 tickets already, and that means 19 seats to be sold to the general public.
Wow.
And at that point, you also have your student body who may want to see some games, which is important too.
Well, what about pet fans?
Pep fans are not going to be playing.
Okay, they're not gonna be playing this year, okay. So we
So-
don't have that.
They expressed that there are 200 tickets, just from giving each kid 4, and then you only have 19 tickets left, which the school would have the opportunity to use whatever they may see fit, somebody needs an extra ticket or whatever. So they want me, there's a board, have a board meeting more with Shack, and one discussion is the 4 too, you know, and still trying to get to the maximum capacity, but still trying to provide the best for our kids, right, the parents and people they want to see. Now, we all know it's not gonna happen, that every parent can love them when they just get in to see their kid. We're still gonna sell the 19 tickets, we're gonna try to get those out there somehow. Each school is gonna be responsible for those, but they are leaning towards that, which makes sense. Now, if you look at the 2, you got schools like White Oak that only have, that we would only get 35 tickets to begin with. Fayetteville around 35, 34. So those two, there's no way we can even use the 2. We just can't do it. And so we're hoping that the public understands that there's no really great solution.
Right, right.
But the focus has to be on the
Yeah.
kids and the parents get to see their child play to the best we can provide.
Yeah.
When you go to White Oak, it may be that one parent gets a ticket to the other. That's just the way it is because they don't have capacity. We fortunately have the capacity to try to help in that situation. So that's some of the discussion. There'll be no triple headers, taking the varsity team. The freshman teams, there's 2 schools that have freshman teams. They're only playing on Saturday. Junior high should be on Saturday too. We'll do a junior high boys 2 games. It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. What we're looking at. If those 2 games have a break where we can get everybody out, and then have the girls come in and play, or it could be vice versa. And if there's a school that only has 1 team, then we have a team that only have 1 junior high girls team. That would be when we play a freshman game on Saturday, because the freshman team is on Saturday.
Okay. And we follow the same rule there, 4, 2.
4 would be followed with that.
Yeah, yeah, that way it keeps it universal, so there's no confusion.
One discussion that Steve and I had with you today, and they're all, I tell you what, our principals, they need, like we've already said, our staff has really stepped up to, first of all, make sure we stay in school and we educate kids, but they're working hard. Our agency principals are working hard to figure out ways to provide this opportunity for our kids for a basketball season, which means a lot to these kids, and still maintain their faith. It's hard when you think about that trying to do it. It's hard to do, but
Yeah,
it's
it's very difficult.
It's very difficult, but busing seems like one that we're going to have a discussion trying to figure out how we're going to do it because we can't put 50 kids on the school bus
Right.
and send them to a basketball.
Right.
So we're going to talk, we're going to have some discussions about that, and we have to have some discussions and those numbers. It's going to have to, we're going to have to be flexible. It's just
Right.
a time that, you know, so I'm open to any feedback from the board. I'd like to move through this. I know the board's stance is to provide as many people in as possible to see the kids play.
Thank you.
The problem is when you have a red county,
Yeah.
do we even try to max that out when we're red? That's the
Right.
reason I had that discussion today.
I think, Greg, that discussion needs to happen with Dr. Hoodler first and foremost, that if we are, that as long as we're in red, should that be limited, so that we have further distances, among folks while we are red, so as you said, we still are able to maybe have parents at least be able to come be in attendance, or, you know, is that situation where we have, you know, students only play until we're, you know, out of red, But those are questions we need to ask. We need to ask what the guidance is and what's best. And I tell you, Greg, I want you to go back and thank the principals and the ADs, because I'm impressed by their thought and this, possible solution, because their first thought was, okay, what's important to the kids? Because they have to be first in all of our thoughts about this, what's best for them. And as Mr. Steve said, it's the same thing with Pee Wee. We love Pee Wee. I have a little Pee Wee cheerleader I love to go watch. And we're disappointed there's not going to be, Pee Wee cheerleading this season either. But, as a retired healthcare worker, I understand the importance of keeping our kids safe and in school, too. So I'm so impressed, like you said, I can't say that enough, of how our people have, stepped up and tried to come with creative solutions for these resolutions, putting the kids first. So.
One very cool discussion that Mr. Wood brought up, from what she's made, and the other AD trying to get right behind us, we had a whole discussion about something that needs a lot of kids in our community in the young classes.
Yes.
We just can't figure out a way where that would be safe for everyone.
Right.
That's involved, having 4 different schools done to a site, and do that safely and sanitizing between games.
Right.
So it's not all about what you call it, the gallery, the same way about this.
Okay.
It's just a trying time.
Right.
We've never been here before, and maybe this year, I think that was kind of their thought, was half the games, but it's just going to be, I think Stevens played Manchester this year, and they would have their game in Washington, and without them have their game, they would do a holiday tournament and have a championship or something. That's just a thought. I'm not going to, that's not necessary.
Right.
We can't find a safe way to do it. I mean, we talked, we had a small conversation, if we get to January, one of the big things is what happens is the day young classes.
Right.
That's all day is school coming in. We haven't got there yet, but we're working towards that. That will be another discussion of how to do that and do it.
Well, that's similar to the situation you face in Pee Wee.
Yeah.
Because you've got different games, you've got games going all day long on a Saturday, and it's the same thing Mr. Steve and I discussed. You've got one group of parents coming and, grandparents coming in, filling the bleachers because there's not as much seating in the elementary schools. You have that group of kids, you have an away team that comes in, then they leave, and another set of parents and stuff, and you have that constant exchange all day with no time for sanitizing or cleaning or doing any mitigation, things in between, so.
And that's to keep discussing, and we should keep meeting,
Yes.
and keep finding other things that we have to address.
Right.
As we move forward, and we're working towards it.
Okay, good.
And hopefully, for all our kids, that they have a season, and keep this play.
So Greg, I don't know if you addressed this, but just so with the limited seating capacity getting into the gym, we also discussed being able to view it outside. You want to update the board on that?
There's a screening, the ADs have already been working on this, free cameras. They worked out with them, they got free cameras from people that North Adams has already been working on. People for the first one, over 80, and then Jason's on board, so they'll be getting on a live stream, the people stuff in the end, so everything, anything is going to be live streamed. There's no sound to it, but it'll be live streamed, and hopefully, some people who can't make it to the game, at least will see the game. So that would be good.
Is there a cost to the viewer? How's it funded if there's free camera?
There's a cost, it's $10 a month when you get these. So I think $10 to watch North Adams live stream, I get one every game, but North Adams net wins is $10. That's the way I understand how it works.
And you're watching on a computer, right? You're watching on a computer.
I want to say, I think, I
don't know if it's on TV or, okay.
We just talked about, we found cameras for free, and it was looking at $10,000 per school.
Right.
Which is, you know, a call to the KK title, they provided us $10,000 per school.
Right.
And then next year, it's an additional $8,000 per school. So they're out there, somehow they're going to be free for people to watch. No, I don't think those are.
Well, if you think about it, the people that do the streaming for $10 a month, they wouldn't take very many games buying tickets. Well, you can have your $10 per month, so I think that's, you know, fairly reasonable, fee, especially like, you know, if you have a grandchild or niece or nephew, or you're just one of our, fans that, you know, attend every game. I think a lot of folks would appreciate that very much, so that's great.
Well, the only thing I'd like to say about that is, you know, in terms of, and Greg and I and Brian have talked to the principals and the athletic directors about, you know, being accountable and taking care of their athletic budget. And I know Brian, and, you know, again, we've talked about this. Sport's very, very important, and keep in mind, when you're not putting in the maximum number of people into a gym, you're not generating the same amount of revenue that you're used to generating. The officials, you know, that cost is still there. You know, everything that's associated with that game is still there. So I think without breaking it down, itemizing it, I think where we will save in some ways, for instance, we're not doing, I just throw this out, I don't know what the number would be, I would have to leave that to Mr. Schweitzer. What do we save in not doing field trips? Where we are saving some money, it'll cost us some money on the other side. Again, it's what it is, and it's trying to, that balancing act. You know, it's obviously not about making money in this business, it's about providing our kids educational opportunities and balancing our budget and staying out of trouble and you know, not running back to the taxpayers every year. So we've been able to do that, want to continue to do that. We talked about advertising on there, and we think that's not something that, we know, to Greg's point, there are a lot of people out there that have been fantastic to this school. You know, if there's a minimal cost, and I don't know, we haven't gotten into the weeds of this, we literally just came out of that meeting. What does that look like, $10 a month? To have that streamed, and I don't know the quality of it. As a matter of fact, I wasn't being rude, I was just kind of filling Eddie in on that here. You know, I haven't had a chance to break it down to the people that can make this happen. So, but we know we have people that want to watch their games, and we want to get that out to them. Likewise, we've got a radio station that has been fantastic to work with ever since I've been here, and so we want to be cognizant of that, and perhaps there's something that we can do in partnership. Will they broadcast?
Would they be still invited in to?
Yes.
The show me, they left it on. And Don was fine with the live streaming from what I'm getting from Michelle, as long as we're not infringing on the advertising piece. So that's what he does. And you know, and I thought somebody could stream the game and listen to it in one of three. And would be a good combination. So, and that's just, like I said, I didn't hear that myself from Don, I heard it from Michelle, he told me this, so. Everybody's trying to work hard and make sure it happens for the kids. I did ask the kids, Mr. Season talked about something, we're going to do this. You know, I think our kids have the most influence on adults when it comes to food, much of their play. So what I'm saying is, we've asked the kids, we've asked the schools to get food.
Yeah.
And do a mass, like promotion, and put it on their website, put it on our school district website, saying, mask up, please come watch us play, mask up, we want to have a season. And get that message out to parents and loved ones. If you mask up, we get a play. and we'll get our whole season, and you get them maxed up. And I think that needs to be the message from the kids and these seniors who want to have a season, just do what we're asking you to do, and we'll get a play. And I hate to see those seniors specifically, because, you know, they work hard to get here, and then all of a sudden you get people coming in and refuse to wear a mask, and we have to shut down because people just won't do it. And I think if our kids reach out to us, and we even said we would put North Adams and Eagles kids together and say, hey, we want to beat these guys, and they want to beat us, but we only get a play if we mask up. We mask up and we play, come watch us.
Right.
And, you know, things like that, because there's a long way to come from kids. More so than us.
Right. Well, I think we need to talk to our kids about, this first. You know, we try to follow that policy, nothing about us without us, right? So I think it would be good to have some representation in each, school have the ADs to talk to their athletes and say, hey, this is what, you know, we're thinking as a solution, and just explain to them the numbers that we're looking at, you know, the math that they've done, share that with the students, and that way the students have an understanding of, you know, the full process, and as you said, that way they can explain it to, you know, the adults in their life and to others.
Our principals and ADs love the idea, and they're starting to work on it now with kids.
Okay, good.
And promote each matchup and come watch us play.
Okay, good.
We have a season.
Good. And also talk with them about the numbers, the ticket solutions, and status.
It's the first of the service, I support probably heard complaints and probably didn't.
Right.
Did. You know, the 4-2 was, we could have got more people in the game, which we learned. We go with the information we had at the time, and something we've never been challenged with.
Right.
And, but the AD, coming out along with the today, felt like, for the most part, everybody got used to the system.
Right.
And just adapted to the system. And now, is everybody ever going to be happy? No. But the main thing is that kid is happy.
Right.
And then people are getting what they want. And then in some cases, of course, you don't have a whole lot of people come watching, so like ladies saying they're giving their tickets to people who get trying to help them get in the game. So I think they're working hard there out there. They need student athletes. You know, kids are very receptive to change things and not get all the way. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. C, do we need to, do you have anything else, Mr. C? Okay. Mr. Parker?
Yeah.
Your turn finally, sorry.
No, you're fine, you're fine. So first, one thing, what I just want to talk about. So, with the cases and reports that I've seen, there's no evidence today to trace contact in that stuff that we as a result of that's great. Everything has been contracted outcomes. Brought in from other folks that are doing whatever, work gatherings, whatever that looks like outside.
Could you repeat that one more time, so
Right.
we could hear that nice and loud?
That's all right.
No, I heard what you said, but I just wanted to hear it one more time. Make me feel good, yeah.
So, as of today, to trace contact, there is zero evidence that supports any of the fact inside the school. Everything's been contracted outside of the school process. So what we're doing is I don't know how long it's going to be, social distancing, cleaning, or regimen cleaning, cleaning, on a daily basis. Everybody in the services multiple times. Where classes have been set up for, that's what we're doing with several students back in one line, so they have to readjust. So the staff is going to be wrong. So I just want to throw that in there and say, you know, we we have done several safety drills and walk-in drills throughout the district. That's community movement itself, because we're still, one element is still using. So we're doing everything, with us, and we're announcing the staff and students, programs for first ones, what to do, how to do it, except for X, Y, Z. And then everybody's going to do it. Additionally, I just want to recognize Tom, teaching and training, I believe he's been doing that even so far, and giving safety talks on social media, which, in my opinion, is going to be like purchasing certain items throughout our country. Should be 21 to have social media, that's my opinion, but of course that's not being true. So he's giving talks on that, and how a person could find to be victimized online and fall from the wrong side of the wall. There's talks very, very
Wonderful. What age group is he doing that with, Mike?
I believe he is in the high school level, quality, discussion, like,
Yes.
yeah, everything throughout the entire district.
Okay. Right, right.
Really good talk, really good stuff.
That's wonderful.
The reason for that, we're basically more so now than we ever had before. My second grade problems in our involving students, so very important. And that all needs to happen.
Yes, yes.
Other than that, we're using mapping to all situations, we have different approaches, establish different protocols, myself and the button as already all in the administration tracking system. Really good.
Wonderful. Again, I say thank you to you and your staff for being proactive. You saw an issue, you figured out a way to deal with it, and you got right on it. And as you say, if you can catch it at the beginning and get it, at least slow down or hopefully stop completely, but at least, reduce the amount of cases and make kids aware, because Mr. Steve and I were discussing this, and we were talking about in our present day, we have more forms of communication than at any other time. And we assume that because of that, people are well aware of issues and things that are happening. But you find that is not the situation at all. You still have to deal with people not being aware, and you have kids who still think they can go on social media and talk to people and it's private. They don't realize that it is not, and how easily someone with the right knowledge can get into that system and deceive them greatly. So.
Absolutely, and I urge all parents, brothers and sisters, and all to go to their
Yes.
if you can't be friends with them in real life, you should be friends with them.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Yes, thank you, Mike, and let Mr. Putnam know that we appreciate his taking this project on and going out to the school and talking with our older kids. And then hopefully, instead, maybe we can even take it down to sixth grade, because as you said, we do have elementary students who have, created accounts, they know how to do it, so. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Steve, do you have anything else to bring to the board? Okay, all right. Do we need an executive session at this time?
I have no need.
Mr. Green? Yeah, okay. If not, I would entertain a motion and a second for, personnel. We have, several on here. We have, one resignation, Amber Rain. I happen to know they're gonna be moving at some point, so, employment of certified substitutes, we do have 3 on here. Kennedy Jones, Amy Shealy, and Lisa Soar. We have classified substitutes as well. Tracy Holcomb as a cook, James Stone as a bus driver, as we know we're in great need of assistance with bus driving. And then, Lisa Soar also is a certified medical aide. And she is really not only to sub in the classroom, but also, as a medical assistant if we need her. Classified part-time, Melinda Wigington is one of our sanitation workers. And then I believe she's going to replace, Amber Rain, is she not? Okay. And then we have some supplemental contracts on here. Wyatt Gleedle, academic team advisor at Peebles. Austin McCormick, junior high boys. He's a volunteer basketball coach at North Adams High School. And then Tyler Ryan is doing the junior high boys at Peebles, and Tyler Sheely is doing the, beta for the Peebles High School.
Just like I say,
Uh-huh.
the advertising is a good person who puts out there and work with for substitute teachers, and actually will call today.
Wonderful.
Processing. I put an ad in the paper and made a ledger for the high school. It's not paper for that. And we're going to be looking to hire some additional aid. Some of the aid will be certain classrooms and just monitor to help monitor kids. So we're going to about 6 of those that's going to be in my school.
Right.
When we're doing that, so we'll be able to more aid to help go into it. It's quite fast and very cooperative. We're doing better than you. I appreciate you guys telling me that. Get that out there and it's work.
Okay. That sounds good, Mr. Drew. And I'm so glad that advertisement is working. Is there a, do we have that on our webpage and stuff? He's adding it to it, okay, good. That's what I was wondering if there's a way we could get it out there online as well. Okay, wonderful, okay. All right, any other questions or concerns about any of these? Okay, roll call please. Wait, okay, I need a first and a second, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Mrs. Campbell has moved. I'll second. Roll call please.
Mrs. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Beth,
Yes.
Mrs. Shipley,
Yes.
Mr. Riley, yes. Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Okay, administrative advisory. Okay, nothing at this time. Any old business to come before the board?
The board has scheduled a
Yeah.
work session / special board meeting October 27th from 9 to 2 here in this building to look at the OSBA classes, professional development opportunities, and any other business that might be coming before the board that day.
Okay. We will be, working on further on these COVID issues by then. Mr. Brown, I'll ask you to be in attendance at that meeting to update us on the, athletic situation. Because I'm sure even with just in a few days, things will, it's so fluid right now. You may have, Mr. Cease may have spoken and you with Dr. Whittle, and there may be more information there, so we can keep working on, that issue. And then, as we've seen, as you guys have said, the more we delve into this, we find another thing that we need to address. So we're trying to, stay on top of it so things don't get delayed. And then, Mr. Butcher, will be attending. I have asked him, at some point to start. I have something for this board meeting for PD, but I'm going to be working with Mr. Butcher, and he is going to be bringing some professional development to the board on our tech within our schools. Double-sided, the tech as far as our staff and employees that work with the tech and, what our needs are looking forward, and also the tech that our students are using and reports back on that, how that is going, and looking forward. We've been able to get tech out in the hands of all of our, high school kids, and we don't want to let COVID, I told Mr. Steve, I don't want to let COVID slow us down on progress. Even if we can't move forward, maybe this year or even next year, we still want to look ahead and say, okay, what do we need to do to improve? What do we need to do to move our kids forward and give them, more opportunities? So, Mr. Bricker has graciously signed on with that. He thought that was a good idea to help us all work together, be more aware of our testing. So he'll be starting probably in November, to start bringing those whenever we have a work session to do a teaching on some tests. And he's also going to attend one of our OFTA days when we meet to view the seminars. He's going to review the tech seminars and choose the one he thinks would help us the most, and he will attend when we watch that one and be able to discuss it with us afterwards. So that'll kind of be the start of our first, CD with Mr. Butcher.
Brian, I'd like to back up.
Pardon me?
Is the third grade reading guarantee also discussion at that meeting?
Very possibly, yes. Yeah,
It's on the agenda, so.
yeah, so,
Brian, I'd like to back up a second. You announced the date of our work session, what you said?
October the 27th, next Tuesday.
27th, I thought you said second, I thought I don't have that down.
9 to 2, and then, as Mrs. Stubbs just referenced, the board has set aside November 9th and 10th to actually view the online OSCE work session from 9 to 3 both days at the McCoy Ranch.
Okay, I had heard 22nd, and I thought, I don't have that anywhere.
All right.
Thank you, that's all right.
yeah. So, board members, if you have something that you want to try to get added to the 27th agenda, please let me know right away. Okay, is there an executive session needed at this time? Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion and a second for adjournment.
So moved.
Mrs. Campbell has moved. I'll second. Dr. Shipley has seconded. Anybody in objection? No. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Whitworth?
Yes.
Mr. Riley? Yes. Mr. Davis? Yes. Mrs. Beth?
Yes. The meeting is ended at 5:57.